Hey, what's going on, family? It's Chef Pat Lee here with a personal favorite of mine, red snapper stew. Before we dive into the video, make sure you click on that subscribe button for more content just like this, and be sure to show some love by sharing and liking this video. Enough talking, let's jump into the recipe. So I started off first by seasoning my all-purpose flour with a blend of kosher salt, smoked paprika, garlic, and onion powder, and mixed it thoroughly. Now to my red snapper, which has been deboned, cleaned, and filleted, I added the same seasonings plus 1 large egg, some green seasoning, and some mustard for binder. We're going to get everything nice and mixed so we can ensure that the breading stays intact with the snapper. Give it a good rub on all ends, ensuring every piece is coated with seasoning. We don't want any bland pieces of fish, am I right? Of course I am. Now to a hot pan, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of a high smoke point oil, and for this I used avocado oil. We're going to add a cup of diced white onion to the pan, and essentially we're going to cook these for about 5 minutes or so until it becomes translucent. Now remove those onions into that same pan. We're going to add thin cuts of bell pepper and freshly diced tomatoes. I'd recommend using red, green, and yellow bell peppers, not just for the flavor profile, but for the look itself. I don't know, something about multicolored peppers just makes a dish look prettier. Maybe that's just me. Next, I added some tomato paste to give the dish some richness and a bit of a base because we're going to add some broth, or you can use water if you really like to bring the stew together. Use an 8-ounce can of tomato paste and just get everything mixed together nicely. Trinidadian food is all about bold flavors, and this recipe is no different. We're going to add about 8 cloves, yes I say 8 cloves of garlic, along with 2 tablespoons of green seasoning and mix. Now green seasoning is essential in pretty much every Caribbean dish you make, so make sure you have some handy. I have a recipe on my Instagram which I'll link in the description below. Next, add some oyster sauce, and then you want to add some diced potatoes and carrots. Now if you're smart, you'll have used a bigger pan. Don't be a doofus like me, but let's just pretend I used this pot all along. Now in my pot, I'm going to add my seasoning blend, which will be in the description as well, and then mix everything thoroughly. I added chicken broth to the pot, and yes, you can use water, but remember, this is all about bold flavors. Remember that, bold flavors. So use the broth. I highly recommend it. We're going to cook this stew for about 20 minutes on medium-low heat, checking and stirring every so often. Now we're going to fry our fish. Now to a cast iron pan or a shallow bottom pot, add some canola oil and heat it until it reaches a temperature of 365 degrees. I dredged the fish in the seasoned flour and coated every single crevice. When that oil gets nice and hot, we're going to fry these babies about 5 to 7 minutes per side until it comes out beautiful, golden brown, perfectly crispy. I mean, honestly, it's got to look like this because who wants a soggy piece of fish? I'm going to go ahead and check on my stew, and then once I give it a nice stir, I'm going to add my Scotch Bonnet peppers and lemongrass slurry. This lemongrass slurry is really simple. It's just a combination of cornstarch, water, and lemongrass paste. Now when the stew thickens, you'll get a nice earthy flavor to balance out the spice and sweetness of this dish. And then from there, it's a simple matter of just plating your dish. I've got a nice bowl here to pour my stew in, and right on top of that, I'm going to add my crispy piece of red snapper and just toss a little bit of sauce on top, plus a Scotch Bonnet pepper to garnish. This is pure comfort food at its finest. Well, there you have it, family. This is my take on a Trinidadian classic. If you enjoyed this video, please click on that like button, make sure you share it with your folks, and don't forget to subscribe. Till next time, we out!